So let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. West Asia has flared up again. Iran and the United States are trading strikes and they are keeping a score. The American military says that it has now bombed more than 80 targets in Iran in the last 12 hours, predominantly in targeting many of these targets. Tehran says that it has destroyed about 85 key American military installations in Bahrain and Kuwait in retaliation. But Trump now says that the ceasefire, remember, that was signed by him in the Palace of Versailles in the Hall of Mirrors, is effectively over, isn't it?
Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
All right, so that is what Donald Trump had to say, that the ceasefire is over. The Iranian state media has reported multiple explosions around the strategic waterway, including on the Qeshm Island in Sirik and also in the port city of Bandar Abbas. A series of explosions were reported from the port city of Bushehr. And the Iranian state media has said that a member of the Revolutionary Guards was also killed in these American attacks. This video that surfaced from social media shows explosions in Iran's major port city of Bandar Abbas.
Whoa.
The US Central Command said that its forces bombed Iranian military targets, including air defense systems, command and control networks and radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 small boats operated by Iran's Revolutionary Guards in and around the strait. It further said that the strikes are over for now, and Iran's retaliation followed immediately thereafter. The IRGC said that it carried out a joint missile and drone operation against key American military sites in Bandar Salman and Bahrain's 5th Naval District and Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait, and has shot down a US MQ-9 drone that apparently was attempting to interfere in the operation. The sirens were heard across Kuwait as the country's army responded to the missile and drone attacks. It said that the attacks had undermined efforts to de-escalate tensions in the region, and several explosions also were heard across Bahrain after the authorities sounded air raid sirens as a warning in the aftermath of the attack. The military escalation came just hours after Washington revoked a temporary sanctions waiver that had allowed Iran to export crude oil under limited conditions. It also came at a time when Iran is, of course, conducting the funeral ceremony of its assassinated supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The remains of Ayatollah Khamenei are in Iraq, where tens of thousands of people have joined the procession. Now, the strikes have come just before a summit of NATO leaders in Turkey. Speaking in Ankara, Trump said that he thinks that the MOU with Iran is effectively over. The American President Trump reportedly approved the strike plan and gave the orders while he was sitting comfortably in Ankara for the NATO summit. Now, according to an Axios report citing a US official, Trump held a meeting in Ankara with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, as well as Military Chief General Dan Kane. Tehran, on the other hand, has said that the US breached the Memorandum of Understanding. Top Iranian negotiator, the parliamentary speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, has cited the latest American bombings as week renewed oil sanctions, violation of Iranian adjustments in the Strait of Hormuz, and Israeli attacks against Lebanon as examples of American violation of a memorandum of understanding signed by the American president himself. Now, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said, and I quote, "The era of bullying and extortion is over." And we earlier spoke with Dr. Mir Javed Anfar, who is a lecturer of Iranian politics at the Reichman University in the state of Israel. Listen to what he had to say.
Well, first and foremost, yes, I think it's going to be low intensity conflict for now. I don't think it's going to be in the same volume of attacks which we saw during the 40-day war, which started on February 28th this year. But it's very important to look at why. Why is this happening? Why are the two sides firing at each other? I think this is a very important question to address for your viewers. The source of this conflict is the following. The Memorandum of Understanding says that Iran should provide access to all ships. It says upon Article 5, it says upon the signing of this Memorandum of Understanding, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. Now, so why are the Iranians attacking? Because there are ships that are using the Omani side, because there are two sides. When you cross the Strait of Hormuz, there are two sides, two lanes, the Iranian lane and the Omani lane. So there are some ships that are using the Omani lane, and the Iranians are attacking them based on their interpretation that this text of the agreement has put them in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. But that is not the case. That is not the case. But in Iran, they're saying, they're interpreting it that way. They believe that all ships that go through the Strait of Hormuz have to coordinate with them, have to abide by their definitions of security, have to pass through their lanes. So they're attacking these ships that are going in the Omani lane, which is not against the Memorandum of Understanding, but they're attacking them, and the Americans have had enough.